Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm your host, Dylan Musgrave, and it's currently Friday, May 1st, and welcome to our third and final episode of the 6th annual Speechapalooza event. For today's episode, we will have 3 NECC students who will be performing a speech on a topic they're passionate about. This event is also being used to raise money for the Northern Essex Community College COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund, which is actively providing assistance to Northern Essex students who have been impacted by COVID-19. Any donations for this fundraiser can be made by clicking on the link below. With that being said, today's first speech will be performed by NECC student Joselito Rodrigues, and he will be discussing how proper oral hygiene requires more than just brushing your teeth 2 times a day. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to our first speaker of the day, Joselito.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joselito Rodrigues, and today I will be presenting how to sufficiently brush your teeth and take care of your oral hygiene better. So, if you're someone like me, how I used to be, you usually just brush your teeth with a regular toothbrush and you floss, and occasionally you're not the best at it. You try your hardest, but not everyone has time to take care of their oral health as good as you'd want it to. And I recently went to the dentist a couple months ago, and being a normal human being, I thought I was taking my teeth perfectly fine. But they had to inform me that I did have a couple cavities, and it shocked me because I'm like, I don't really eat that much candy. I usually brush my teeth twice a day, and I try to floss as much as I can, but they told me that trying and the way I was living my life wasn't cutting it. So I decided to change my routine a little bit, and I did go get another checkup at the same dentist, and she told me that my teeth have improved very well. And she asked me how I did it so quickly, because I did have a checkup maybe 2 months later, and she could already tell all the plaque and all the cavities have gone away. So today I'm going to share with you how I did that, and it's really not that hard. It took me a day to change all this. Not that expensive either. So the first step that I did was I changed my toothbrush. So I don't know if you guys know, but this is my old toothbrush. This is a regular toothbrush you find at every store. You can get them at the dollar store. They're very cheap, plastic. You're not supposed to you can use one of these, but a more sufficient way to brush your teeth is to buy an electric toothbrush, which I did invest, and I went and got this one. And I'm not a crazy spender, so I didn't buy a $200 electric toothbrush. This one was about $10 at Target. It's a charcoal toothbrush, and you just click this button, and it vibrates while you brush your teeth, which is removing more plaque because the bristles are moving way quicker. So it's actually scraping the plaque off your teeth. So it's very more efficient than this one, because this one you're just using a back and forth motion. While this one, while you're using a back and forth motion, it's also vibrating, and the bristles are rubbing on your teeth, which is a more efficient way to brush and get all that nasty stuff out of there. So that was the first thing I did to change my oral hygiene, and it's increased so much. So I would recommend that you guys, switch from, if you have this, to electric toothbrush. It's not that difficult. You should also be changing your toothbrush three times a year minimum. So, you go to Target, $30 a year. It's really not that bad. You should invest in that. Another thing I invested was I got, and this was the biggest thing for me because I am terrible at flossing. I try, but who really has time to sit there and floss after every meal? I invested in a water flosser. This was $50 on Amazon. What you do is that instead of going through every teeth with a piece of dental floss, going back and forth, takes you about 3 minutes to 4 minutes. This right here takes you about 1 minute, and it efficiently gets everything out more. The water pressure is taking going through every tooth, and it's just taking out all the nasty stuff that's in there. I believe that it's better. It actually is provenly better. This is what they use at the dentist, because when you put a dental floss, you're just rubbing back and forth. You're not always certain that you can get all the debris from in between your teeth. So this one, you get water pressure up to 10. You just put it in between each teeth, and it just shoots jets of water, which takes out everything. And when I tell you everything, I mean everything. And this really helped with my gums, because I had swollen gums from not flossing that much, and it really helped my gums go way more less inflamed. And they're just overall, I have better looking teeth and better looking gums because of that. And like I said, floss, very cheap. This $50, but I never had to buy dental floss again. So you're also being more sufficient, and you're saving way more money. And the final thing I want to talk about to do oral hygiene is, you don't need to do this. This is personally what I just started doing. I did buy Crest white strips. These are very good. I've been using them for about, I say 2 weeks now, and these whiten my teeth so much. And it's so you only use these twice a year. It lasts up for 6 months, 20 treatments every day. You put on whitening strips for 30 minutes, and I guarantee you, by the end of those 20 days, you will have a beautiful white smile. And I've seen major improvements on how white my teeth have gotten in a couple of days. And I would like to say that, you know, even if you brush your teeth, you keep up with your oral hygiene, your teeth aren't never crystal white. And that's because our teeth aren't naturally that white. They're a little, sandpaper, sandy like color. So with these whitening strips, you get that perfect smile that you're going for. And all you have to do is take 30 minutes of your day every day and put on a white strip for perfect teeth. I mean, I think it's a small investment for a way better life living. More confident smiling at pictures, more confident taking videos, more compliment in general in your personal life. So these are my tips to improve your oral hygiene, have a better smile, and I hope that what I shared with you will help you in your journey of oral hygiene. And thank you for listening to me, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Joselito. I'm going to have to get a new toothbrush after this. Anyways, our next speaker will be NECC student Justine Janvrin, and she will be discussing her life in auto racing. So please welcome our second speaker of the day, Justine.
Hi, I'm Justine Janvrin, and today for my open topic, I'm going to talk about automobile stock car racing. It's a passion of mine. It's been part of my life for about 40 years, between being a spectator or being a car owner or being on a team. It started back in the 70s when I was dating my husband. We went to Star Speedway on a Saturday night, and I was hooked. I loved racing. So for many years we were spectators. And then in 1985 and 86 we were building our house, so we stopped going. And a friend of ours came over with a race car and asked my husband, he owns a body shop, if he would paint the stock car for them. So we did, and they put our name on it, and they're like, you've got to come up to the track and see us this weekend. So we went to the track, and since 1986 we stayed back in racing. We became car owners in 1987. We bought a street stock, and we ran Lee Speedway up in New Hampshire, which is a third of a mile track, and Circle. And then we'd go to Star Speedway on Saturday nights, which is a quarter-mile track. I don't care for drag racing at all. I'm a circle track person. And it's funny with racing, you either like racing or you don't. There's kind of no in-between. But we went on to buy a pro stock in 1988, and then in 1989 my daughter was born, and she was 10 days old when she went to her first race. Women would be pregnant one week, and the next week you'd see us, we'd have newborns in our arms. And You know, a lot of the kids grew up at the tracks. They call them track brats, which they weren't. They're some of the best kids that have ever been raised. But we would travel in motorhomes. We would race one track on a Friday night and head out to another track and put the kids to bed. We had cribs that we had made in our motorhomes. My kids grew up in parking lots. We knew where they were. They were at the track. And if you ask any of the kids today, they would tell you that they wouldn't have wanted to be raised any other way. They did miss out on sports because we raced from April to November. So there was no chance really of them having sports in their life. But the memories, the friends that we met, I wouldn't change it for the world. And it was funny because back in the 70s when we would go racing as a spectator, we would, you have your favorite drivers, and one of our favorite drivers was Tom Quinney. Well, when we hired a new driver in 1988, come to find out, his best friend was Tom Quinney. And we became really, really good friends with his family, the Quinneys. And it's funny today because his grandchildren and my grandchildren, they race at the same go-kart track up in Concord, New Hampshire today. And it's crazy to be standing there. And we'd say, 30 years ago, did we think we'd ever be standing here today watching our grandchildren going around on a racetrack? But we owned a race car from 1987 to 1999. We were car owners. I've been to 27 different tracks in 12 different states. We've gone as far as California, when in 2004 you were invited to a big race out there. It was the East versus the West, and the driver at the time, we weren't car owners, we were on a Bush North team. He ended up winning that race, and it was done with a car that my husband built in my cellar. He built the jig, and they would remove the floor, and up would come the race car, and he'd bring it out to the body shop. You had to buy a hood, the roof, and a trunk lid from NASCAR. But the sides, the fenders, the doors, and the quarter panel was all made by my husband, who then would paint it and letter it up. And he was the crew chief and the spotter for Bush North. Then when we were racing with Bush North, I was on the team. I would be the cook. I would make them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I was also what they call a scorer. When you went to a racetrack, you had to have a scorer, and they would give you a piece of paper with how many laps we were going. And every time your car went under the timer, you would write that time in. Eventually we got transponders, but transponders fall off cars, you get in an accident, they malfunction. So we always had to have a manual scorer as a backup. But it's a life that I love. I have gotten away from it some. I'm still a spectator, but I don't go to the tracks as much because I have a fear of going back to a track and having to be, again, an owner and be part of it. And really enjoying life right now as we're doing it. We're enjoying camping with the grandkids instead in the campground, instead of a parking lot. But I wouldn't change it for the world. We did get to see a lot of different tracks. We'd travel out to Watkins Glen, which is road course, which is my favorite. The view, the racing was fantastic. I've been down to Florida. I would take and pull my kids out of school in February, and we'd go down to Daytona and Disney. We would go for 12 days, and we would break it up between half the time over at Daytona at the racetracks, or Volusia County, or we'd go to Disney, and we'd go to New Smyrna. And it was funny because when you look at my kids at Disney, they all had their favorite drivers' racing shirts on, or we were in racing. So would I change it? Absolutely not. Would my kids, if you ask them today, they'd say the same thing. They wouldn't change it for the world.
Thanks, Justine. It's nice to see kids and parents share a passion together because it really makes some awesome memories, and it just really brings the family that much closer together. Our third and final speaker of the event is NECC student Alex Montanez, who will be talking about some of the unwritten rules to raising and caring for a child. So for the last speech of the day, please welcome our final speaker, Alex.
Hello everyone, my name is Alex Montanez and I'm here to talk about kids and having a family. To have kids, it's from experience. I've been around siblings, younger siblings, since I was 8 years old, and I've been with them for most of my life. So I'm here to teach you guys some experiences and some things that I've learned in these past 12 years. So for starters, to have kids, you need to have financial stability. It's crucial that you are able to have a place for your kid and having a room, having the certain medications, having bottles, and having all the formulas ready, and blankets, and believe me, and tons of diapers, because a lot of kids like to go potty multiple times a day, and I can guarantee it, even though they sleep for scientifically proven 60% of the time, newborns. And the second thing I'd say is being able to be patient. I'd say being patient is the largest thing out of all the few things I'll be teaching you today. And that I think that we need to be able to manage our emotions and frustration over the fact that, maybe not everyone likes screaming constantly in their ears for the entire day. But being able to control yourself and being able to have patience over the kid and let him tire himself out than the parent being tired of the kid, because that's not a good sign if the parent's tired of the kid, because it takes a lot of patience, endurance, and a lot of work, I'd say. And to break that down, I'd say being disciplined about when your kid eats, what he touches, where he goes, and constantly be on the lookout on any other dangers is one of the first few things that a parent should think about when having a kid. Another thing is being able to change his diaper without feeling grossed out, or being able to, when he vomits or something happens that it's out of the ordinary, being able to adjust to that and being able to clean up after him is going to be something that you have to do on a daily basis. Because they're just still learning. They're just little kids. They're constantly learning, but they're always causing a mess. If it's through them, or through touching stuff, or through moving things around. And another thing I'd say is, whatever you give them, like technology and games or anything, just be very wary about it, because it tends to have a very nasty side effect, and that it might distance the child from parents, or just have distance from other people, the child from other kids, and just having all other kinds of social interactions just go haywire. So I'd say, for starters, being able to introduce them is not a bad thing, but I'd say at a later age, when they're more developed, I'd say 7 years of age or 8 years of age. And if for whatever reason they're very, very, very impatient, or they just wanted things now, I'll tell you right now, being able to talk them out of it is key. Being able to reason is one of the things that humans learn throughout life. Reasoning, I think that's one thing you can do as a parent, is being able to talk with your child when he's able to learn to speak and understand the concepts that are being told to him. Obviously, at a newborn age or 1 year's age is not going to be easy for them, because they're just still learning. Their baby teeth hasn't came out yet, but I'd say giving the child the most fun, but at the same time having the most discipline is key for the child to grow up. And they say that the earlier the better. And another topic I'd like to talk about is in the same subtopic, I'd say kids with disabilities. For me, I've been with disabled kids, or they have difficulties starting off in life. I've been with them most of my life, and I can tell you right now that it's not easy for them or for the parent. It's more than just a typical kid that you would raise. It takes a lot more patience, a lot more work, constant doctor appointments, and being able to meet the standards of state laws even, because kids that are vulnerable or just are disabled really are, much more touchy in a sense, and they can take it. The police, the SC or CSP, can take away the child easily. And I think that the best way to go about it is being able to be on the lookout constantly, and being able to just have someone there always next to the kid, because you don't know what he would do or what he's doing. Because kids that have cerebral palsy, for example, like my siblings both had cerebral palsy or muscle deterioration, which they both had, it was not easy for them early on, and they've improved from the constant attention they got and special care that they were given. And not to mention, they cost a lot more money than a typical child would. And so I'd say being much more than stable would be crucial for having a child with special needs. I'd say another topic that we can talk about is kids that are different. Every kid has a different mentality, and it's probably due to genetics and parent, the way that they were being nursed early on in their life. So it is key as a parent to be able to bring them forth through an obedient and disciplined mind first, and then give them the fun later. Because kids, they love to run, they like to be up and down, constantly moving, and just always being, touching things and being curious and having all kinds of, fun, as they would say. But in reality, they don't know what they're touching or what they're doing, but they're learning. So it is the parent's job to teach them and present them the right things early on, and then as they grow up, they get to learn more of the advanced things, and then eventually, once they get into teenagers and adulthood, they get to learn how to be independent. And I'd say, to start, the starting process would be helping them feed themselves, teaching them how to go to the bathroom, teaching them how to clean up after themselves, and being able to go to bed without needing their mom next to them constantly, or their dad. And having a bedtime, having certain rules that they can follow, because in this world we do have laws and we have certain rules that we all have to follow. So it is crucial that parents teach their kids early on in life about obedience. So having kids is a wonderful thing for a lot of people, because they get to leave their offspring once they pass on. They get to enjoy their time, for a second thing. And thirdly, they pass on the genes and the memory of them, because of course the sad thing is that we're all going to pass on at some point, but at least we enjoyed the time that we had with family and friends. I think that also people should take more responsibility. It will help them with being more responsible and giving them more discipline and patience, because not everyone is born with the same amount of patience or discipline. I appreciate everyone for listening. This is my speech on kids.
Thanks, Alex. It's always important to remind people that raising a child is one of the most rewarding yet challenging tasks you can ever take on. Well, that was our final speaker of the event, and that means it's time for me to go. I'd like to give a quick thank you to all the NECC students who have given a speech during this event, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today and helping Speechapalooza have another successful year. Thank you and stay safe, everyone.